Good morning, everyone. How are you all doing? I do not have my helper with me this morning. She is inside playing Roblox. But I wanted to come out and talk to you guys a little bit about our three sisters raised bed gardening and what's good about it and what's not so great about it. So come along with me and I will tell you all about it. Alright, so here it is, the infamous raised bed three sisters garden. As you can see, the corn actually will be ready before too long. It is tasseling, and we have got corn in the works, growing all over the place. There's at least 1 to 2 ears on just about every stalk. Now, we had a storm last night, and it actually blew over some of our corn, so that's what this string is for. I just tied the string this morning to kind of fix the stalks of corn that had fallen over. Which brings me to my first con of Three Sisters Raised Bed Gardening. I don't know if it's because the compost is kind of loose soil for it to be growing in, or what, or possibly because we couldn't really hill the corn because we had to plant, the beans and the squash down in there. The corn is not super sturdy, so whenever it's windy, they tend to fall over, and that's been that way since they were about a foot tall. We've had to fix the stalks of corn. Now, they've been doing pretty good for a while, but then again, we haven't really had any real wind or rain, so this morning I came out, and that entire row of corn on this side had fallen over into this patch over here, which, look at this gorgeous squash. This is amazing. This is some squash I got from MIGardener, and it has really taken off. But anyway, back to this. This was looking really lush and green for the first couple of months, and then we had a heat wave. And I don't know if you guys know or not, but down here in South Georgia, we've had a heat wave. The past couple of weeks have been really, really hot. A lot of days have been up over 100 degrees. And that's not including the heat index. That's just the actual temperature. So it's been really hard. And for whatever reason, this bed has suffered from the heat more than the other beds next to it. We got a tomato and pepper bed over here. And we've got a squash and cantaloupe bed over here. And those really didn't seem affected too badly by the heat. Some of the more sensitive plants did. There was a little bit of leaf burning, but not much. And as you can see, they're really just thriving. But this one, the corn does not like the heat, which I was a little surprised. I didn't think corn cared that much about heat, but it does apparently. And what really suffered the worst from the heat was the beans. A lot of the bean plants on the edge here, there's a few bean plants growing. They look all right. But if you look at like some of this growth, this is heat stress from when it was really hot. But up inside of here, a lot of the bean plants have died. There's a lot of, it's kind of hard to tell from here, but a lot of the bean plants died. So there's only a few, and I've harvested a couple handfuls of green beans already, which is cool. I'm not going to get a huge harvest of green beans out of here, but that's okay. Now, the other thing that suffered in the heat, surprisingly enough, was the squash. Now, if you can see them down there, there's a couple of squash plants, and down towards the back, there's a couple more, which they're doing a lot better now. Two things I did to combat the heat. One is I put some mulch in here, which I probably should have done from the beginning. We've got some leaf mulch we put around everything, so that helped. But the main thing that helped a lot was I came out a second time during the day to water and just kind of mist everything to bring the temperature down. And I would even spray down the sides of the beds, which of course is helping the grass grow. I need to get the weed eater in here. But I would spray down the metal sections of the beds so evaporation could cool it off. And I noticed once I started coming out twice a day, they were suffering less from the heat. So if I had done that from the beginning, this bed would be looking better right now, I think. Also, being that it's in a raised bed and we're doing high intensity planting, that means everything's closer together, everything's fertilized more frequently. I think the squash was not getting enough sunlight. Now this is zucchini, which is not the same type of squash as what we have growing over here. But these squash plants have really been slow to take off, and they're just not doing as well. These were actually planted about 2 weeks before I planted everything in this bed. Now again, these are a different type of squash still, so that's not really a great comparison, but you know, the squash, and over here we got cantaloupe, and over here we actually have jelly melons, which are really cool, and I can't wait for them to put on fruit. But these really just took off and grew really well, and they've got a lot of sunshine, whereas the zucchini plants up in here, you know, they're doing okay. They're blooming. They're probably going to put on some fruit. I'm hoping they take off more, especially once the corn finishes up and we can cut off the corn. Then they will really get some sunshine. But I would say, as far as doing this in a raised bed, this really just isn't the best option. If I had to do it again, I would probably skip the corn. I think the corn needs a bigger bed than 4x8 for stability, and it needs to be by itself. I really don't think mixing the beans and the squash in there really helped anything. They're all competing with each other, and it's not the way you would think. Now, I know growing Three Sisters gardening like in a regular garden can be annoying because it's hard to walk around between the plants and pick things. So I thought this would be better because we can reach in there from all sides and harvest what needs harvesting. But it's just not, I mean, it's working okay. We're gonna get some awesome popcorn out of here. We're super excited about that. We got these seeds from Papa Pepper off of Homesteaders Co-op, which I'll put links to all these people in the descriptions if you want to see. So this is popcorn, and as you can tell, it's tasseling, and you know, some of the silks are getting, you know, they're starting to dry up, and the corn is swelling up in there. So, you know, before too long we'll actually be able to harvest some of this corn, and that's going to be exciting. There's some beans to harvest, not a lot, and hopefully we'll get some zucchinis out of there. But yeah, I mean, pros, you can reach everything, you can control better pests and things like that, I think, because you can really get in there and look at everything. But I don't know, I'm thinking Three Sisters gardening really is not super practical in a raised bed, and it's not super practical in a regular garden either. So it's a nice idea, but as far as I'm concerned, I don't think I'll be doing this method of gardening again. If you grow things with the Three Sisters method, with corn and beans and squash all together, let me know in the comments. Let me know how that works out for you. This is my first time trying it, so, you know, like I said, I think I could have done better to protect the plants from the heat wave and possibly from blowing over. I'm thinking I should have put some supports around the edge, maybe done, you know, a board at each corner and then strings around it just to kind of prevent the corn from falling over. But being that it's such a small patch of corn, you know, there's not a lot of corn to corn support, so it can't hold itself up. So that probably would have helped. And I guess maybe not planting it as densely, but then again, if you don't do that, you're gonna have pollination issues. So it's kind of, with such a small patch, it's kind of hard to manage it just right. And I don't think I quite hit the nail on the head this time. So I'm glad I did the experiment, and it's worked out okay, but these are the problems I've had. So I thought I would share that with you guys in case you're trying something similar, just to kind of give you a heads up and know what kind of problems to watch out for. And hopefully you don't make the same mistakes I do. But like I said, let me know in the comments what you think. I would love to hear other people's experience and see what y'all do. So thanks for coming along, and if you enjoyed this, please give it a like, and if you want to see some more stuff, subscribe. We're always doing something new around here. It's always exciting growing things. And before we go, check it out. We got a baby watermelon. That's exciting. I cannot wait to have more watermelon in here, which is doing great. So thanks again, guys, and have a wonderful day. See you next time.